Hello and welcome into the first installment of BizEquity's Secrets to Success webinar series. Today we're joined by Joe Mallee, a top producing agent at MassMutual, the CEO of MassMutual Eastern Pennsylvania, and the CEO of Peerless Business Advisors. In this program, Joe will share his winning process and explain how he uses business valuation as a tool to engage business owners and create opportunities to grow his business. Later in the program, we will hear from BizEquity CEO Michael Carter, who will share some insight into the BizEquity tool and how you can learn more about how BizEquity can help you build and grow your business and value proposition. And now, Joe Mallee.
So here's where we start kind of as a company. If you could see these three circles. We talk about the family interest, the business interest, and ownership interest. And kind of where you see that P there, we call that the conflict zone. So most of the clients and customers that we're serving are closely held family businesses, and many times these business owners kind of look at everything from a micro standpoint, not really recognizing how all of those three areas come together. So what we do inside of Peerless, there's our mission statement, is we help established business owners protect their family, their business, and their ownership interest through integrated solutions that reduce risk, build wealth, and improve tax efficiency. And we spend a lot of time working on that specific mission statement as a team here. What I will tell you about Peerless, or about our agency, is I think it takes three things to have a great company. The first is people. So I will tell you, if you go to the Peerless website, what you will find is a team of professionals. Most of the professionals in my office that are serving this marketplace have a CFBS designation through MassMutual, which is a Certified Family Business Specialist designation through the American College. So most of the advisors that are handling this marketplace have credentials and are able to talk to business owners. We also, as a company, have a very robust estate and business planning department that we lean on a lot to review documents, to help us in supporting the work that we do with those business owners. So we really lean on our company affiliation to help us with tools on the back end. So people is paramount in what we do. Product is kind of the second area that I talk about. You know, our company has products that are ideally suited in the business owner space, and I believe the companies that are on the call today, or advisors on the call today, probably have access to our product portfolio or similar product portfolios. So as a company, we're committed to the closely held business marketplace. And then finally, which I think is a big one, is process, right? So three Ps: people, product, process. What we've done inside of Peerless is we've created a proprietary process that's geared towards the closely held business owner, and that is what we're delivering kind of as a team inside of our organization. So we start with the three circles when we're talking to an owner: family, business, ownership. We want to be, you know, I've heard this cliche a number of times, but we really do want to be the quarterback that is kind of assembling the team of people. In my last slide, I'll kind of show you the infographic we've come up with to kind of tell that story. But this is the paramount to the work that we're doing inside of Peerless. Talk a little bit about our process. We start with basically an assessment of the business. And I believe the best advisors that I've been around are typically the best at asking great questions. So instead of going into the business owner and leading with what we can do for them, we really go into the business with the mission to find out what that business owner is concerned about. We go into the business trying to find out, you know, what keeps them up at night. And we want to learn as much about the owner and their business as possible in our open meeting with the business owner. MassMutual actually has a really great fact finder that's not just data-driven, it's actually question-oriented, and we use that to get to elicit as much information as possible about that business owner when we sit down for the first time. And then we're going to make a determination out of that first meeting whether there's an opportunity to work with them or not. The second meeting with a business owner is around commitment, and that's a commitment of time, energy, and resources. If you're working in the business owner marketplace now, what I think you probably already know is that it takes a significant amount of time to work with a business owner and kind of get all of the data that you're going to need to do planning. So I always want to work with an owner that's as serious about doing the planning as I am. And after we've kind of met with them and found out about their concerns and gathered some of the data, we're going to talk to them about making a commitment of their time and our time to go through the process. Next part of our process is the design stage, and we'll talk a little bit about design today on some cases that we've been working on, but we're going to take their concerns. We're going to get 3 to 5 year tax returns. We're going to get their balance sheet. We're going to get their cash flow. We're typically going to get copies of their operating agreement and legal work, and we're going to work as a team typically on that planning case. We're going to go back and educate, which is big, having all the key stakeholders and the family members of that business to participate in the planning process. A lot of times what you will find in a closely held business is that the owner is the only person that knows what's going on inside of the business, and there's a lot of key people and a lot of family that are less kind of clueless in the situation. So as much as we possibly can, we're trying to involve those key stakeholders in the planning process to make sure that everybody is ultimately on the same page and that communication has been opened up. And then finally, we're going to manage the relationship and the work that we do and work with the owner protecting the business at a macro level, and then start the process all over again. Down here is just a sample of the services we provide. So we put at the top business evaluation. We're working with BizEquity to have the tool, and I'll kind of show the tool inside of the slide to help evaluate the value of the company. One of the conversations that I will have with an owner of a business is how can you possibly do retirement planning or estate planning or succession planning if you don't really understand the value of your largest asset, which is the business, which seems pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but if you look statistically at businesses across the country, and MassMutual has this data, and I'm sure your companies have this data as well, I think it's an 8 out of 10 number where the business owner hasn't done a formal valuation, right? So there are a lot of owners out there that don't know what the value of their business is. They really have no clue. And for me, a very easy carrot to kind of go into an owner and talk to them about is, do you really understand what the value of your business is worth? The second key area that we'll talk to them about is succession and transition strategies. I think a lot of times there might be an idea of what succession looks like, but there's nothing that's been documented, and that vision a lot of times hasn't been communicated. So succession and transition is one of the areas that we work with. Key employee retention and reward tactics. I think 401k planning is pretty standard for a business, but a lot of times these businesses have key people that are vital to the company, and they're not doing anything for them specifically to retain them and reward them. So when we go in and talk to a company, we will try to figure out who are the key people to that business, who are the key people that the business cannot afford to lose, either to a competitor or to a disability or to a death. And we kind of go in and look at the business and look at those key people and try to help them put plans in place to reward and retain those people. We're almost always going to get into an estate planning conversation because the estate planning is almost always tied into the succession planning of the owner. We're going to get into asset protection as the business owner protected his assets. We're going to get into retirement distribution and income. We're going to get into employee benefits. One of the most exciting things for me as the head of our organization is we go in at the top of the company and deliver what I would call advanced business and estate planning, and we start with the highest level decision makers. Our 401k business has grown significantly because of our focus here, because once I'm doing this high-end customized planning, to talk to the owner about the 401k business, which to me is a commodity-based business, that conversation is very easy to have. Same thing with worksite insurance, same thing with the property and casualty. So for me, the business valuation and the planning to the owner at the top end is really a gateway into that business on all of the commodity-based business that comes in, that comes out at the bottom. The other thing that I would say is I think for most advisors, at least the ones in my firm, the biggest issue is prospecting and marketing for most advisors, right? So if I'm going into a business at the top end and we're able to deliver high-end value add on the planning, what that is leading to is planning opportunities for the rank and file employees that are part of that company, and that's a marketing and prospecting opportunity for the advisors that I have that don't necessarily have a focus in the business marketplace. Because employees of these companies may have a 401k plan, that doesn't mean they have their wills and trusts taken care of. That doesn't mean they have their life insurance taken care of. It doesn't mean that they don't have the need for 529 plans or Roth IRAs or debt consolidation. So for me, from a market opportunity, if I can go into that business and deliver high value to the owner, it makes sense that that's just going to be a gateway into the rank and file employees of that organization. And I know not every advisor is interested in serving maybe that downstream marketplace, but a firm of our size, we've got a large number of advisors that are interested in working with those types of people. Move on from there. So this is if you haven't seen, we kind of bundled this into our presentation. This is our Peerless Business Advisor landing page with BizEquity. Couple of things here. One, I think this makes our website sexier. I think if I'm sitting down with a business owner, I like showing them the tool. I like showing them that we've got technology capability to help them look at valuing their business. And as a business person, what I am constantly trying to do is create marginal utility. Right, so commodities get priced in the marketplace. If you're common, you're going to get priced. So I don't care whether it's BizEquity or another piece of technology or another person or tool. I, as the head of the organization, am constantly trying to figure out how we can differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. And for me, BizEquity is just it's a tool that we can use to create marginal utility with a business owner. So in a meeting with a business owner, we will tell them, we will tell them about our team, our people. We will tell them about our products and services, which I kind of just shared with you. And then we're going to share our process, and part of our process is the evaluation of that business. Right? So I think there's going to be a demo at the end of this meeting, so I'm not going to get into the technology too much, but that is something that we'll share with the owner. And then kind of this is the last piece that we have, and I'm really proud of this piece because I think it really tells the story. But we talked about the three circles to start with. We talked about us wanting to be the quarterback in the middle, and I think every business owner that we meet with has this team of advisors around them: financial planners, CPAs, bankers, attorneys, HR directors, insurance agents, coaches, CFO, and then around them are all of the products and services offered. So the conversation that we have with the owner is I'll talk to them about this family office concept, and probably most of the people on the call know what a family office is, but unless you're an ultra high net worth individual or business owner, you probably are not operating with a family office, meaning you probably don't have all of these people on your individual payroll working together on your behalf. So as much as humanly possible that we can do leveraging technology and our team of resources and people, we try to bring the same approach to the owner and be a macro manager of all the advisors that they end up having to work with, right? So we're going to come in, and a lot of times we're going to either work with their legal team and our back office legal team, or attempt to. We're going to work with their other financial professionals a lot of times. We're going to work with their CPAs, but we're going to come to the relationship with the owner with the idea that we don't necessarily need to replace all of their key relationships. What we want to do is come in and at a macro level look at all of the moving pieces that owner has to deal with. So that is our process. Hopefully that helps some folks on the call. We've spent a lot of time and money on branding our value proposition. We kind of have materials that kind of echo what I'm showing to you here. I know one of the requests that I had from BizEquity is kind of talking about some of our success stories. So I'll talk about a case that we're working on right now. It's a pretty large, closely held business. in the manufacturing industry. The way that I was brought into the relationship was actually a referral from a CPA firm. What I will tell you just from experience is my practice, when I was really in practice before I kind of got into management and leading the organization, really a lot of my business came from CPA firms and law firms. And I know in the eyes of the CPA, I did not want to be the life insurance guy, right? I wanted to be seen as an advisor. I wanted to be seen as a valuable part of their team. And usually the kiss of death for me was if the CPA said, I want you to talk to my insurance guy, because that usually was I want you to run me a proposal kind of thing. So I think the success that we've had with the packaging of Peerless and the use of our evaluation tools and the other business planning tools that we're using is that we get to position ourselves as an advisor, right, as a professional, and not necessarily somebody that's just out there hawking a product. At the end of the day, do we do insurance? Absolutely. Can we do investments? Absolutely. But we want to be seen as a valuable part of that planning team. So the good news on this story is that a CPA referred me to a business owner as a business and succession expert and advisor, and we got to meet with the owner of the company who was thinking about selling. There was actually 7 owners in this situation. He was selling his majority interest in the business. And what we quickly found was that they didn't have a valuation completed, or that was outdated. They didn't have an updating operating agreement or a buy-sell agreement. And there was just a lot of kind of missing pieces inside of that business that we were able to go in and add value. So we kind of started with an evaluation of the business. That ended up leading to helping the owner kind of post his sale of the business. Our trust company, I think we got the handshake last week that our trust company is going to get an opportunity to manage his $3 million that he's walking with post-sale. Our insurance company was able to do his life insurance inside of his irrevocable life insurance trust for his estate planning. There's 7 remaining owners in this company. We're working with them on doing basically a partnership cross-purchase buy-sell agreement, which our advanced planning attorneys are supporting us with. And we're using life insurance as a sinking fund in that transaction. So the premium on that is a $500,000 premium transaction. They're doing a SERP for their junior people in the business because they don't want to dilute equity ownership any further. So they're going to put a SERP in place. And then we just got the go-ahead on their 401k plan and their voluntary benefits. So that business is a $20 million business. It's not a $500 million business, but the bottom line revenue to our firm is minimally a couple $100,000 in revenue. And, you know, that started with a conversation centered around the planning that we just talked about and centered around, you know, talking about the valuation as a door opener into the conversation with that owner, right? So I literally have 10 to 15 cases in one form or fashion in working with business owners. And what I have personally found is that business owners are very receptive if you get in front of them to hearing about what the value of their company is and learning more about what the perceived value of their business is. And honestly, to be able to deliver that report or that value, I have to get the information because it's kind of good data in, good data out. So for me to even do that on the front end, they're really giving us a lot of information about the business. And then once I know everything there is to know about the business financially, and I've got questions that's just part of our process that we're asking, it really just naturally opens up the opportunity to kind of go in and transacting on business. So anyway, that's kind of one success story. The other success story is, you know, we're in the marketing business and we're constantly looking. That's one customer, but now we want to meet the next business owner. So one of the pieces of the tool that we use is kind of the geolocation piece of the tool, where if I'm working with a manufacturing company in the Lehigh Valley, if you're in this business, you probably know this already, the dentist local to me knows the other dentist in my community. The manufacturing rep knows other manufacturing reps. The doctor knows other doctors. The print guy knows other print guys, either through association or through competition or what have you. So we have had success once we've added value and we've delivered. You know, we end up building pretty close relationships with the heads of these companies. It's pretty easy for me to go into the tool, geolocate other similar companies that are neighbors or might be in the same geographic location and say, hey, oh, by the way, Mr. Owner, you know, my practice is centered around working with manufacturing companies or doctors or dentists or you name it. I know Joe Smith, Bob Smith are in the area and are a competitor. Do you know anything about them? Do you know them personally? You know, would you be willing to make an introduction? Are you okay if I use your name when I contact them? And I think the tool can be a pretty powerful tool from a prospecting standpoint, because I think it makes our job easier to find out who are the surrounding businesses that may be an opportunity, and who does the client that I just add value to, you know, who might they know? And we'll use, and I'll use it in conjunction with LinkedIn, right? So I can geolocate them using the tool, and then I can kind of go in through LinkedIn and find out their connection and see who they're contacted to or connected with. And it's a very effective way to kind of get a positive introduction into an owner to get an appointment set. And I know a number of our advisors are kind of using it in that capacity. So anyway, hopefully any one of those number of ideas helps you if you're on the call today. Like I said before, I think we're going to have questions at the end. And then if you want to reach out to me individually, which I know some folks have, I've got no problem talking to people on a one-on-one basis. And if I can help you, you know, please let me know.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Joe. We really do appreciate the opportunity for you to share some of your secrets and, you know, what you have done to be successful and incorporate business valuation as that door opener into your practice. Right now, what we'll do, we're going to shift gears a little bit as we introduce Michael Carter, the CEO of BizEquity. He's going to give you some insight into BizEquity and what goes into making our business valuation tool. So, Mike.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Joe. I thought that was a terrific presentation from Peerless, and one of the things that we've seen is how they have an end-to-end process, as Joe mentioned, and great support from MassMutual with other tools as well to bring this to light. How I met Joe, which is real quick, 30-second story before we get into the slides, is it's one of the rare situations as, at the time, a early-stage software company where rather than linking in with people that are clients, your potential clients link in with you. So Joe actually linked in with us based upon some feedback he heard in the marketplace with other advisors using it successfully, and that began our relationship. And he was quickly activated, and within, I think it was like, I remember this because I've used this line a lot in other presentations, but within 35 days, I think was the exact count, Joe called me and said, do you realize that in using your product in one case and helping the business owner who, like the 98% of business owners that don't know what they're worth, didn't, we made more in premium than we'll pay you for 8 years in your product. And I said, that's terrific, and that's our mission, is to kind of democratize this knowledge. And that began our relationship, and Joe's part of our customer advisory board, and we really value what he's doing, MassMutual is doing, as well as the other carriers we work with, and Peerless. So with that said, I'm going to get into a little bit to BizEquity, frame the opportunity that we see for the advisors as a way to get closer with clients by doing the right thing, and then do a demonstration of the product. All of that within the next 15 minutes or so, and then we'll open it up to rigorous or robust Q&A. So if you think about the life and wealth advisor opportunity, kind of turn the tables and talk about you all now. It's mentioned in industry stat that 8 out of 10 advisors leave the industry in the first 5 years of joining due to poor prospecting. And I don't think that has anything to do with getting a Salesforce CRM system, meaning CRM is terrific. All the automation with technology is meant to actually be able to more efficiently manage the prospects you have. But how do you find more prospects? And what we've seen, and other carriers in their own internal research or McKinsey studies have noted, is the fact that a killer app, or the #1 way to actually attract more of the best clients that you want, which are business owners, is using business valuation as a carrot or as a tool or as a service to get to know your clients more. And this is a proven business case for insurers that actually came from an insurance company in their own marketing materials. Like many different carriers, there tends to be homegrown, predominantly spreadsheet-based valuation engines that have been used to support cases after they're won. And what we've done is kind of use this idea of business valuation to help the 98%, as we mentioned, but turning it upside down, like Joe mentioned, and using it up front to prospect and or engage. And this is an example, these are statistics actually from Principal, who we don't work with today, who in their own marketing materials say in over 2 years they've generated close to 10,500 valuations and close to $80 million in new life insurance premium using business valuation as a hook. Now here's what's so exciting, I think, for all of us and folks like Joe who are early adopters of our system and the over 1,200 advisors that we have now in the last 10 months, is the fact that these stats that are proven are actually using an Excel-based system that takes 3 weeks to generate a valuation. So what it was a marketing effort driven by marketing with the advanced sales group at Principal using a homegrown system and an off-the-shelf tool, I think, which still takes 3 weeks to get the result. So we're excited for the industry, as being fans of the industry, but also we're excited for business owners because what we've done is take this concept and bring it online. And there's been much talk in the market about big data or the cloud, and what we've done over the course of the last 5+ years is invest over $10 million and create the biggest and best system out there today to value businesses and to provide business insight to the business owners and the advisors that serve them. And we do it all in real time. We do it all with 200 comparable data sources at your fingertips to make sure the valuations are as accurate as humanly possible, assuming the data entered is accurate. And we've been able to get 7 patents from this and have over 60 patents and inventions filed. And I mentioned, being the largest in the world, we've had over 110,000 businesses through their advisors predominantly run valuations, and we've pre-valued over $33 million, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we share that with you. So what we've done, and Joe alluded to this, in the ability to prospect and show using geolocation, this mapping feature, is to prove the point of using business valuation more in the upfront needs assessment and selling process, is working with some of the biggest data companies in the world like Equifax and Cortera and others. We created this big data ecosystem where we've actually pre-valued over 33 million businesses in North America and the United Kingdom to put this power in the hands of our advisors. And knowing that this is going to get better over time, and it's an add-on feature on top of the core, which is business valuation, we actually just bundle that in free as part of the monthly subscription to our service. And over the course of the last 5.5 years now, we've been noted by leading analysts as what Zillow is to real estate, we've become to business value, and what Equifax has been to consumer credit, we really see the opportunity to help business owners with their valuation and extend into the capital markets as well. So over the last, now 11 months, we've been able to add over 260 financial firms and 1,200 advisors. And some of the names here you'll all see, some of the folks on the call, which we're excited about, are clients, not just prospects on this webinar to hear Joe's secrets of success, representing 6 of the top 20 carriers in the United States. And recently, just a logo I want to discuss briefly is KPMG. KPMG, if there's a company that probably shouldn't like what we're doing or should have what Clayton Christensen calls the innovator's dilemma, it should be a Big 4 accountancy. And KPMG embraced us They're very innovative about their approach because they realize not many businesses can handle $50,000 to $100,000, which were their fees for business valuation services. So they've standardized on us as their online business valuation resource, beginning in the United Kingdom with their KPMG Enterprise Initiative, and then soon extending in the United States and other places in Europe. And we couldn't be more proud about that because that was 12 months of back testing and benchmarking about our results with our tool. So now, the conversations in terms of reliability of our solution, we have more and more infrequently, and we really focus on how we can help your clients and prospects by democratizing this knowledge, and how we can help you as advisors sell more insurance and better protect them. So with that said, and this is just from John Treese and Christine Walters in our Success Center, they lead our Success Group. This was just a survey done with our existing installed base of users and only representing, I believe, 14 responses. So with 14 responses of those over 1,200 advisors, what we know today, we've helped them sell over $86 million worth of whole life insurance. And we couldn't be more proud about that because we don't view that as just commission revenue and premium for the advisors, but being fans of the industry and knowing the power of insurance. I know it's one of the few things that I purchased in building the company 4 or 5 years ago was I wanted to make sure my family was protected, and I bought whole life insurance as a way to sleep tight at night while I was investing in this company. I see the power of that, and I'm really pleased that we're extending that to the business owners all across America and the United Kingdom. So some customer success stories on top of Joe's, and all of our customers that we like to say have become fans of ours, and thanks to the success team's efforts, I think we're close to 93% retention, which is astounding for a first year of selling this subscription service with Advisor Office, a year and a half in, with 93% retention. So Bill Teminant sold $3 million of insurance policies, I think, in the first 90 days of using our product, 3 fee-based plans. I believe he's an independent that writes with Guardian. An accountant, BGH Valuation, he said that our product gave him the confidence to leave the accounting firm he was at and start his own valuation practice as a differentiator because of the ability to white label our solution. Thomas from Business Planning Resource Network, he writes with 3 different insurance carriers, and he generated over $12 million in protection policies in using our service. And based upon this feedback and based upon working with our customer advisory board, in our product roadmap later this year and in the fall, we're going to announce a really powerful product to help from a needs assessment perspective with insurance coverage estimations during the needs assessment phase. So what I'm going to show you now with the team is a demonstration, because around 4 main areas that we want to focus on. We want to help advisors prospect smarter, as Joe illustrated. We want to give the advisor a reason when they call a business owner not to say, do you need more insurance, or not to say, do you need an estate plan, but rather to say, hey, we want to help you. If you're like 98% of business owners, you don't know what your business is worth because it used to take 4 weeks, used to cost close to $10,000. We're here to give you a free assessment of what your business is worth. Can we schedule a meeting? And it's really a Trojan horse or a way to get the nose under the tent of the account to better protect them. We think it changes the game with existing clients because now for the quarterly or annual meeting, there's another reason to meet with them, as we'll show you in our dashboard. And it's a way to re-engage and cross-sell and upsell the existing client. So here, we're now going to kick off into the demonstration. Our favorite mascot, really, the elephant, the idea of being the elephant in the room for your most powerful or best clients is what's their business worth, and that's a question that we help you to answer. So we'll transition now into the demonstration of our tool, which will take about 5 to 7 minutes, and then open into Q&A. So this is a sample. There are about a dozen or so different images, maybe slightly less, to utilize. I always call that the German workplace, which Peerless has. But that was an example of what the homepage would look like with your logo. Here, as I mentioned, John Treese is typing in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and we want to look for Office of Dentists. So this is the first use case when we said prospect smarter. This is a way that all advisors can prospect smarter, and we literally bundle this into the service for free. So what we did here is we said, show us all the dentists in the Bethlehem area. And what you see on the top right is there's 119. If I want to refine that search better, because I maybe only want to focus on those dentists over $350,000, say, in enterprise valuation, I can type that in, and then on this map, I've refined it to 23 matches. Gentle Family Dentistry, pretty good name for a dentist. You can see there, right, valued at close to $500,000, closer to $400,000, and you see some statistics on them. I want to know more about that, so I'm going to open the contact detail. And here in the contact detail, I see some interesting names and title and phone number on how to reach them with the URL. All of that is, free to the user and the ability to do some internal research. One of the things we've heard from some advisors, actually another GA or top performer from MassMutual in Texas, who's become a friend of the firm as well, is he wasn't necessarily in the business market before. He wanted a reason or somehow to get into the business market, but he actually views this part of the tool as a way to attract millennials into the business. Because a lot of times, people think of the insurance industry as your father or mother's insurance industry, and it's different. You look at how the insurance industry is getting better by utilizing technology. Well, how can you make it even more attractive by putting it in the power of your hands for your intern for the summer, or marketing managers that you want to help you get the appointments? And this is a real powerful way. I know Joe did that early on with some of the folks in the marketing department here at Peerless, and used it to scout out to say, you know what, we just closed a good piece of business with a sign, I think it was a sign manufacturing company or a sign business. How many other sign companies are there maybe in eastern Pennsylvania, and the ability to map to that. We've also seen advisors run direct mail campaigns to that. So where you'll see BizEquity go is a marketing module, the ability to run literally direct mail and email campaigns right from this console. But now what I want to do is I'm going to send, after I've contacted the Gentle Dentistry, I'm going to send them a link prior to our meeting with the carrot of, if they completed this, they will get a free business valuation report that will be hand-delivered, let's say in this case, by Joe Mallee. So here now, they've imagined that they've sent the link to the business owner. This is the business owner updating the valuation of their business, and in 7 simple steps. So they put down that they were a C corporation. It tells you what tax form to pull that data from, and they might put some interesting statistics like, they have 9 full-time employees and other data points. And they're also going to put why they're running that valuation. And with that said, now they're going to get into step 3 of our tool. And in the spirit of time here, we're just going to show some of the data entry points. We're not going to do all 3 years. Obviously, the more data you enter, the more accurate the value. But a couple key things that I would just want to stop and have everybody think about is a lot of the folks on this call have used great products like TurboTax in the accounting side or the tax side. We've taken a lot of elements from Google, TurboTax, Apple, and applied them to our business in terms of user experience. And one of the things we found is, even though we have, we're all web services enabled, which is a fancy way to say we can integrate data quick, not many business owners don't want to give their advisor who they haven't met, or maybe the advisor they work with, their QuickBooks file. They want to see, as they input the data, how the value changes. So I think what's been so powerful is, even though we have this patented valuation formula with all the success we've had, we help the user be as transparent as humanly possible by showing them, as they input certain figures, what happens to the value. So it's a total engagement vehicle, and you're building trust. Because they've never met Joe, maybe at this point, Joe Mallee, but they're like, wow, how cool. I never have to meet Joe. I can drop off right now, and I know in this year's financials I'm doing so well. Maybe I acquired another dentist in Bethlehem, that's why my numbers are so high. and I'm valued at $2.5 million. That's awesome. But you know what? What a great guy Joe was, because he gave me access to this tool. I'm going to fill this out more because I want to know what a report is. We'll go to the next step. For some of this data, they may or may not want to do this after dinner because they don't have it handy, or do it back in the morning. You can save for later at any point and come back. But you can also delegate. So they can delegate it to their accountant, their controller, their CFO, or other, and email them this exactly where they are to get collaboration and help to fill that out. That's been incredibly powerful for us to get this data from the users to be able to give them a more accurate valuation. Now what John's going to do is kind of just click through a little bit more, maybe add a couple more components here in terms of the figures. We'll go to the growth tab. And I want to show you something really interesting. Joe Mallee talked about succession planning. So if I'm this dentist and I know that I say I need $2.5 million to sell my practice to retire, maybe I need to grow the next 2 years at 40%, and maybe I have to improve my EBITDA margin up. And if I did that, what would happen to my value? You can see how the valuation of the business changes based upon EBITDA margin growth or based upon revenue growth. So it's a scenario planning tool. It's a succession planning tool. One of the things that we talk about a lot is Main Street businesses, the way they valued themselves, have historically been inaccurate because they might take a Wall Street methodology around revenue growth and EBITDA margin like this Step 6 shows, instead of doing the add backs for officers' compensation as John showed in Step 3. What we've tried to do with our tool is make it hybrid, make it industry-based, make it location-based, make it size-based, and have components of fancy terms like discounted cash flow, where goodwill is embedded in some of these market comparables, but also what's called seller's discretionary earnings and FDE. As we get into this last tab around operations, you're getting some more interesting tidbits on the business from a needs planning perspective. We also asked the question, does your current life or key person insurance coverage cover this amount? And 99 out of 100 times it does not. Industry statistics, as Joe alluded to, it's estimated that 40% of business owners don't have life insurance, and I'm convinced it's because they don't have the ability or access to get that knowledge, and they don't think their business is worth as much as it is. And our mission is to help them understand the value of their business and to help them get protected. So at the end, we go, you'll see the dashboard load up in a minute. So the business owner has completed their input of the data. They do not see this page. This is really important. This is the page for the advisor and the advisor's team, and it gives the advisor a reason once they become a client to have that client meet with them again, because this is kind of, we call it, some of our advisors call it, this is their palette, their palette to work with the business owner, and you can see how powerful this palette is. It has the estimated value to the top left, valuation history. We believe valuation is a point in time. Every day your valuation for your business, if you're updating it, could change, and we want to be that place to have it. But we also want to be that place to have different key performance indicators comparing them to their peers. Remember, we only put in a few data elements, I think 13, so we don't have all the KPIs listed here. But if we did, you'd have 16 different key performance indicators. We've been called McKinsey for Main Street, the ability to be able to have that data. So in this age of the cloud, very important to have, sexy, attractive dashboards and components like this, and the ability to do rankings, stack rankings for that business owner, give them some new statistics that will kind of gamify where they are. But there's still great gravitas to what John Treese is going to show you, which is the printed report. So unlike the principal case study that was highlighted that takes 3 weeks, the ability to literally print this out in your office, bind it, put it in color, and hand it to the business owner pre the underwriting process is very, very, very powerful. So John right now is loading up this PDF report. You see it here. It's 29 pages. We go into painstaking detail around the methodology to walk the user through. And the main page is really this page here, page 6 as it loads, which is the money page, we call it. It's the equity value, asset sale value, enterprise value, and liquidation value, as you see right now. And literally, we've been told by business owners that it's been so amazing because when they printed it out in color, their husband or wife would say, oh, I didn't even know you could do this. You've never had somebody do a business plan for you. It could be a successful trucking company doing $20 million. They might never have an executive summary. If you print this out in color, they literally have an executive summary on the business, and you provided it to them as the advisor. So
I think, Joe, the only thing I'd say is, Joe, that I would comment on is who on the call hasn't gone on Zillow and looked up what the estimated value of your house is, right? What owner, I guarantee if there was a tool online that could tell you the value of your practice, you go onto the tool and put your numbers in and see what it kicked out, right? So, like I said earlier, it's kind of the information in, it's going to be the information out. And we'll tell our clients this isn't necessarily, this isn't a formal valuation, but this a lot of times, at least in my experience, has actually led them going and doing formal valuations after we've kind of done this analysis. So.
All right, just a couple of quick questions that came in during our presentation here. So the first question is, how soon does it take to get activated, and also what is the monthly cost for this? So I'll let Mike cover that question.
Yeah, so from an activation perspective, one of the best parts of our organization is our engineering team and our success teams. And what we've been able to do is the engineering team's configured something where literally we can activate any advisor office within 3 minutes. It's all very simple, the ability to answer a series of questions online and get activated, and we have a dedicated success team that will serve as their kind of Sherpa, if you will, to get them going. And the price is, it's $5.99 a month, and you get 3 seats plus an admin. So literally, it's 3 seats plus an admin. You get 60 valuations, full valuations a year. So if you think about the estimated typical cost of a valuation is $8,000, you're getting 60. So for whatever that is, $400,000 plus in terms of annual fees, typical would be the typical cost. And instead of that, it's only for a few $1,000s. So literally $5.99 a month. 3 seats plus an admin. We also have a per advisor price. So if somebody just wanted 1 seat because they're a small shop, it's as little as $2.99 a month.
All right. Another question that came in, how many advisors are currently using the system today, and how many of those are actually top carriers?
Oh, great question. We covered it briefly, but over 1,200 advisors now, 260 firms, and we have 6 of the top, I think it's actually, I misspoke, it's 6 of the top 22 carriers in the country are clients. And the interesting thing there with John is there are various scenarios how we work with a carrier. So Mutual of Omaha has been a very successful user, and that actually started in the advanced sales and marketing group. So they didn't want Innovator's Dilemma or the Clayton Christensen thing to happen to them. So they said, listen, we're still going to be incredibly relevant, but we just want to do more evaluations. I'm not worried about us doing less. So if we embrace your product, maybe we can kind of partner more with the sales organization. And they've been incredibly successful with our product as being one of the ways some of the carriers have worked with us, as well as Penn Mutual, various general agents at MassMutual, AXA, to name a few.
All right. Another question here. I have an advanced market team that currently has a valuation system. How do you compete with that valuation system that's already provided?
Yeah, so we don't compete. We view it as an and, it's not an or. So, what the advanced markets teams do at most of these carriers is, truly strategic and very important, and they work, hand in hand with the general agents a lot of times. And so we view it as an and, not an or. We view it as upfront in the selling process. before it becomes a case, and then work with the advanced markets team as it becomes a case. So we don't really view them, much like working with the accounting channel, which is kind of come and is working with us today. We don't view them as competitors. We view them as partners.
And as we're coming up on the top of the hour here, one more question is, you showed a lot of features. What can people expect from BizEquity as far as different features or roadmap items that you may have coming down the line? Is there any projects that you have in the works?
Yeah, totally. Great question. So part of what's been very important to us and has been this working with the advisors that we have, keeping that retention rate really high and listening to their feedback. So a lot of the new features that you've seen, like the prospecting search feature, that came from listening to our customers. Going forward, there's an insurance coverage calculator that'll be an add-on module that folks can understand, okay, based upon this valuation, what's the estimated buy-sell coverage or key person insurance coverage number that we should be thinking about prior to the advanced sales and marketing conversation. That's one feature. Two is this whole marketing module, where the ability to use the geolocation and prospecting search to hop out and run direct mail or email campaigns, as well as various CRM integrations like with Redtail and some other leading providers. So, you'll see more and more from our awesome engineering team as we deliver features to make the advisors and their clients more successful.
All right. To wrap it up, I would like to just say on behalf of BizEquity, thank you once again, Joe Mallee, for taking some time out of your busy day to share with all of us your secrets to success and what you've done to position your business to clients. Thanks for Mike Carter for a great overview of the BizEquity tool, and also thanks to everybody who joined us on the call today. This will be recorded, so if you want to revisit this, we will send out a recording tomorrow morning. And if you do have any questions, if you'd like to schedule your own personal demo, feel free to email sales@bizequity.com. Again, that's sales@bizequity.com, and we will get you on your own personal demo of our system. All right. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.